Us in the Facebook group now. Pros, happy Thursday. Hope you're all staying cool on this hot day. My name's Chris Weldon. I'm one of the community managers here at Housecall Pro. And this is Pro Power Hour, something we do every Thursday at this time. It's a product training webinar, really to just help you navigate through all of the different products and features within Housecall Pro. We've been doing this. I say this every week. We've been doing this a long time, a little over a year, probably approaching a year and a half. And so we've got a whole recording library of all of our past sessions. So you can go back and watch a tutorial essentially on almost every product and feature in Housecall Pro. I encourage you, if you're new here, if you're finding this for the first time, I would get signed up. Join us every week. It's a great opportunity to ask questions and find more support. We're lucky to have Phil here with us every week, partnered with onboarding. You might recognize Phil, maybe you've worked with him, or you've likely worked with somebody on the onboarding team as you got started, especially if you have a bigger account. So I think today we're going to be talking about customers, customer portal. So Phil, I'll turn it over to you.
Cool. Hello, everybody again. I'm Phil Spingola. As Chris said, one of the onboarding specialists over here. Today we're going to go a little bit over the kind of the customer experience with the customer portal, just kind of seeing what they're able to access in there, and also what we're able to do in the customer profile section. Feel like a lot of people generally know their way around this area. Today might be kind of light. I know I said that last week and we still took the whole hour. So we may have that happen this week. But just kind of want to point out some of the updates that we made. We've made a lot of really good updates to the customer profile. A lot has been asked along the time, and we just saw within our town hall today some more stuff that is coming out really soon that's going to really help for you all in your businesses and being able to keep track of things that are happening with your customers and things that are happening in the customer profile. I guess today is just kind of like the first wave of the improvements we made. There's still more to come. So as usual, we're going to do just a little bit of a slide deck to just kind of set the agenda, give us a little bit of information about what it is we're going to talk about. And then I'll pull up my account. I'll show customer profile from the website as well as customer profile from the mobile app. And then we'll take a look at what the customers are going to see when you start sending them documents and what they can see in their customer portal. So let's get into it. So first thing here for our deck is, all right, just customer profile overview with a portal overview, talking about the customer referral program, and then as usual, just kind of show you all how this functions within your accounts. And then when we have time at the end, we'll have some time for questions and answers. So getting into it, the customer profile. So every customer within our system is going to have a customer profile. When you typically put them in for the first time, you're really putting in just kind of their information in regards to their name, what business they work for, their contact information. There's also a place for customer notes, customer tags, things like that. But within the customer profile, that is where we're going to be able to see all of these after we put that customer into the system. Also, in the customer profile, that is where we can, as I mentioned, just kind of keeping track of their information, but that is also where we're going to be able to look at their service and their job history. So when we ever need to pull up an old estimate, or if we need to pull up a new job, I just got an email from somebody today that was asking, how am I able to look at my customers' previous jobs and estimates in case I have to go back out there again? You go straight to their customer profile. You can look at, you can even filter by the specific addresses. So if you are looking for a specific job site, you can find that very quickly within the customer profile. And what I advise them is if you're going out there to do the same work, essentially, you can pull up that old work order and hit copy to new job, so that way you don't have to type the whole thing from scratch again. So great. I know that's a specific great use of the customer profile and what's available in there, but just wanted to point out that service and job history. Also, we've been asked for this for quite a while, is being able to have private notes. Mostly what I've heard is being able to have private notes on our jobs and estimates be able to carry over to a central hub where we can see them all. That's essentially what we did here with the private notes. You're going to see is that when I pull up my customer, I can go to private notes and it's going to show me all the private notes that were left on jobs and estimates. And there's a link that goes directly to those jobs and estimates if I want to go ahead and take a look at those. Or you can leave private notes directly on the customer profile. So if you want something that's outside of those particular jobs and estimates, you can always do that as well. And there is communication tracking, so it'll be easy to track those interactions with all of your customer requests, and things like that. A couple of other things that's on there, which I'm probably sure going to show up later in the slide deck, but just other things that come to the top of mind is being able to take a look at any attachments. Now, these attachments do need to be put on the customer profile because as of right now, all of the attachments on jobs and estimates typically are going to stay on those jobs and estimates because we just don't want to clutter up the entire customer profile. Also in there, you'll be able to see where you can go ahead, put a credit card on file, you can request a credit card on file, and you can set up the notification settings for your customers. So if they have opted in for marketing text messages or not, and if they have opted in for the 3 basic text messages from Housecall Pro, which include the job scheduled, we're on our way, and the jobs finished texts. So lots of stuff in there. Feel like a lot of people generally have been in there at some point, but we'll take a look at it together. So moving on to the customer portal, basically what the customer is able to see when they go when we send them a document is that they'll be able to see their essentially their profile within this online portal. And within that portal, that is where that they will be able to look at their job history and look at all of their invoices. So they can always refer back to a job that has been done before. There's also the spot where they can where they can make their online payments. I always stress with every account that comes to me is really setting up that banking so that the customer can just pay their invoices online. That's kind of the way things are going these days. It just makes the process very streamlined for you and your team. Service requests and estimates. So whenever we do create an estimate, customers will be able to look at those estimates. That's also where they will be able to approve or decline those estimates. Appointment tracking. So if we are set up for service agreements or membership programs, things like that, really the service plans within our system, that is where the customer can keep track of those appointments on when their next service date is coming up. Even if we, outside of those service plans, if we're just doing a simple repair or coming out for a brand new installation, any appointments that are made with that customer, we will be able to keep track of that. They will be able to keep track of them in their customer portal. Faster payments. So basically reiterating those online payments is just being able to make those online payments. If they store a credit card, we can go ahead and charge that credit card. In specific instances, we may request, an approval, just instead of them actually having to give us, type out the whole credit card information, we can just say, hey, we have your credit card on file. We'd like to charge it for this service. Will you approve that? They can do it just as easy as they would with a estimate. And also with that customer portal is less administrative work because it's one hub for the customer to where they can get all this information so that customers don't need to consistently be calling in to your office staff asking, hey, when's that next appointment? I'd like to make a payment over the phone, things like that. So that way your team can really focus on the tasks at hand and the other day-to-day operations. Then the other thing is the customer referral program. So the referral program enables your customers to share a unique referral link with their friends and family. Upon following this link, the referred customer will be directed to your online booking page. After booking a job, the referral relationship will be surfaced on the customer profile under a referred by section. So I've had people ask about that, and basically that explains what it does. How can you set it up? If you have online booking enabled, the referral program will automatically appear to the customers using your customer portal. And if you have not enabled the online booking, you will need to do so in order for that to display. And another great question, can I preview what customers see inside their customer portal referral program? Yes, you can preview what your customers see and customize the referral message displayed by going to settings, customer portal, referral program, and that's where you can go ahead and customize the message displayed. So, short slide deck today. Let's go ahead and take a look at how this is going to look in real time. So I'll scoot this over here. And let's first take a look at our our customer profile. So pulled up my favorite customer here. And for that, there's a couple of different ways to get to a customer profile. One is that we can simply go to our list of customers and simply look for them within the search bar. There is the search bar over here as well, where we can go ahead and just type out their name. You can type out their address. You can type out their telephone number, and they will appear. You will see their name appear, and we can go ahead and click on that to get to their profile. So just as a quick example here, if we do just the telephone number, everything that's for that customer is going to pull up. Now, I use that number quite a bit. So as we can see, there's our customer here that we're talking about, and here's a couple of other customers that that number is associated with. But in the customer profile, as we can kind of see, I'll just kind of go from the top to kind of the left down. And we'll start here at the very top. Some people do like to go to the customer profile and start their jobs or their estimates from here. Um, I say there's really no right or wrong way to start a job or an estimate. So if you like doing it that way, don't let me stop you, but that is one way of doing so. If you attended our service plan session, I think I know we've had one. I don't know if we've had two yet, but we've talked about, oh, we have had two. Yeah. So then up here at the top, I've mentioned before is that there's the service plan button, so that's way for us in the office, we can go ahead and get a customer on a service plan, kind of going through the office route instead of being there with the customer, walking through the end of an invoice and getting them signed up that way. Another thing here is if a customer has any outstanding invoices, you're going to see this red banner here, and it'll say view details over here. So I can always click on that to go ahead and view whatever that outstanding invoice is and be able to reissue that to the customer. Maybe I'll give the customer a call and try to get them to pay over the phone, whatever the case may be. So then kind of shifting over here to the left, as we can see, there's the profile. So that is giving us everything here that is on the profile. If we slide over to the next option, that's where the estimates are going to be. So as I mentioned before, if we need to pull up an estimate from the past, we can certainly go through the list of estimates here. For jobs, that is where same idea as the estimates. And as I was giving my example, we can go ahead, go through all of these work orders here. There is, as I mentioned, there's the address filter button. So if you have a property manager that has multiple different properties and you want to hone in on a specific property, you can always filter by a specific address. Invoices. Now, this is going to be actually in regards to invoices that have been sent to customers. So when we take a look at it, this is one place I lead everybody to where we can get that information on if an invoice has been delivered, if it's been opened. I don't know if I have an example, but it will also tell you if the email's no good, if we spelled it wrong, that kind of information that will pop up in here too. But this is just really where we can get a list of being able to look at all of the invoices that we have sent to this customer. Attachments. I don't have any attachments on this customer's profile, but this is where I can upload any attachments that I just want specifically to be on the profile. As I mentioned before, really just so that we don't clutter up our profile with all of the images from all of our jobs. But if you do want to take the images from the jobs and put it on the customer profile, again, don't let me stop you. For me, I'm a visual person, and when I see a million different attachments from a million different jobs, it looks a little cluttered to me. But there is a method to the madness where you can either keep those separate or you can bring them all together. And then the last thing is the private notes. So with the private notes, we have them separated, as you can see by this tab here. So that way we can take a look at all of the private notes, which means it's going to pull from all of your jobs, all of your estimates, all of your leads, or all the ones that are stuck on the customer profile. And we can slide the tab over to look at each individual one. So as I mentioned, I don't really have any private notes on the customer portal, or on the customer profile. I don't think I have any notes in terms of my leads, but if we start to get into I'll say jobs, that's what I was talking about is now I can start to see some of those private notes from some of those jobs. And right over here is where those links are so that I can go directly to those jobs, get a further information about what that particular work order or what that job was about. And if we need to include any additional customer notes, there's the button right there to do so. So going back to the profile, I'll kind of start here on the left-hand side and go down, and then we'll come back over here to the middle and we'll go down from there. So on the left-hand side over here, we just kind of have a overall summary of our customers. So when their last service date was, when it was that I actually put them into the system, their lifetime value, and if they have any outstanding balance. So really just kind of that key information there for our customer. Underneath that, we do have our contact info, which is pretty straightforward. We do have the ability to edit any of that contact info. So if we need to make any adjustments, maybe mark that customer as do not service, we can always do that. Another thing from here is if a customer ever wants to opt out or opt back in to receiving the job scheduled on my way, jobs completed text messages, there's the checkbox right there that we can always turn on and turn off at any time. Down below, we do have send an invite to the customer portal. So if this is a new customer and maybe they haven't been in the customer portal yet, or maybe you start getting phone calls from a customer that's saying, I thought you were going to send me an invoice. I thought you were going to send me an estimate. And they're just having trouble finding those emails or those documents. We can always send them an invite to the customer portal, which, as we're going to see together, is where that they'll be able to see all of that information. As I mentioned before, and we just recently did a session on payments, so I would check that out if you want more information. But here is where, if you have your banking connected, that is where you can start storing credit card information. There's going to be two buttons. One is going to say add a card. So if we don't have a card on file, we can always add one. And there's going to be an option to invite to add a card. And in that case, we will send the customer an email, which will take them to their customer portal so that they can go ahead and upload their credit card information on their own. I also mentioned earlier that that's where we can take a look at our communication preferences. So here we saw that this customer was opted in for email, or I'm sorry, the text notifications for jobs scheduled on my way, jobs completed. And also this customer has opted in for the marketing messages as well. So we have done sessions before on the advanced marketing, so I would strongly recommend taking a look at any of those past sessions if you want more information regarding the advanced marketing feature that we have. But also pointing out here is if a customer is opted in, there is an opt-out button. So if they ever are saying, I'm tired of getting those text messages, can you please stop? We can go ahead and opt them out. Also from the customer profile, that's where these customer tags will start to come into, you can add customer tags, remove customer tags, but that's really where they start to come into play. And we can always add them from here so that they will show up on all of our jobs and show up on all of our estimates. So always good ones I always think of. I mean, Mezzy is friend and family, so I'm going to put a tag right there. And, maybe, she's on a bunch of different service plans, so we'll say membership customer. All right, and then underneath that, we do have attachments. So similar to the tab up here, this is where we can add any attachments to this customer profile. Again, as I explained, these are just going to show up on the profile, not on every job, not on every estimate. It's just here so that we can quickly pull up any of those photos or attachments or documents right here in the customer portal or profile. Lead source, that's where we can mark where this customer heard about us or where they first called in from, so that way we can keep track of where our marketing time and money is best spent. And the other thing that I'll talk about here is the auto invoicing. I know we did a session on QuickBooks Online, so I'm going to let, if you have any questions on what this does, please refer to that QuickBooks session because we actually had somebody from the QuickBooks team that can explain this a little bit better than I can. But that's why I'm just going to skip down to auto invoicing. Now for auto invoicing, I have mentioned this before in a past session. but auto invoicing is best used for any commercial clients that you have. Um, these are the clients that don't pay invoices like when work is completed. It's usually for accounts that like to pay at the beginning of the month, or if they have a set date, like the 15th of the month, at the end of the month. This is where you can go ahead and set up that reoccurrence. So the most common one I typically see with the people I onboard is like a monthly occurrence, repeat every month, and repeat on the first day of every month. So then that way, the first day of every month, this customer is automatically going to get an email with a summary breaking down all of the payments that they need to make at that time so that we can go ahead and collect that payment. Speaking on that, before I move over here to the middle, is if a customer calls in and says, "Hey, I received my summary. I want to go ahead and pay off all my invoices for this month." Or maybe I want to just pay off a bulk number of invoices. So for that, we can go to our job section in the customer profile, and that is where we can go ahead and say, all right, these two are on the summary. So I'm going to select those. And there is the option over here. The little credit card button lights up so that way I can make a batch payment within the system. If they're not doing it over the phone and say, "Hey, can you just send it to me? I want to use the new customer portal so that I can make my payment." Sure, we can go ahead and click on the send button right over here, and that will go ahead and send off both of those invoices, and the customer can go ahead and pay online. So scooting back to the profile, I'm just going to go now down the middle since we went over everything on the left-hand side. So down the middle, there's a little map here that kind of shows where some of their spots are going to be, or some of their locations. This customer only has one address. If we need to add any additional addresses, there's the plus button right there so that we can go ahead and add any additional ones. And down below here, we can go ahead and start up a new job at that location. If you want to do it this way, start up a new estimate, create a new property item. So for people that are using the property profile feature, that is where you can add that as well. And this is also where you can edit the address as well as delete it. Now, also going back to our service plans, we can see here that this customer is on 6 different service plans at this particular location. So we do have the ability to click on any one of those service plans to go in and get more information regarding that service plan at that location with this customer. And then underneath that, we do have the section for the private notes. So instead of going to the tab over here, we kind of put it right here on the dash. I kind of call it the profile dashboard here so that it's all in one location. Just makes it a little bit easier to get to instead of having to click over. But if you want to do it that way, you can as well. And similarly, this is where we can go ahead and go through each of those tabs, find the private notes that we're looking for, and add any new ones that we want to add. So that's going to be everything that's on the customer profile. I'm going to quickly switch over to my phone to just kind of show how that's going to look for people out in the field if they ever need to get to the customer profile. All right, so there is my mobile app right here. And so if we're going to go ahead and look for Mezzi, I'm going to go ahead and search for this way. And there we go. So there is our customer profile on the mobile app. Very similarly, it's got all the same information. We can start for a job or an estimate from there. We have all of our contact information. We can see those tags. We can see any of the addresses and get that basically get that GPS right to their location. We can then also take a look at any of the service plans that they are on. We can go into any of those notes. So if I click on that, there's no private notes here, but we'll go ahead and we can always create a new one. History, that's where we can go on in there and take a look at anything that this particular customer has done. or that we have done for this customer, and be able to see any of those statuses, see which of, if these are estimates, so we can see which ones have been approved. This one here is a job, so we can see that there is a due amount, that kind of information as well. And then lastly is attachments. As we saw, we didn't really have any attachments on this profile, but we still do have the ability in the field to access any of the attachments that have been added to a customer profile. So I'm going to shift gears and now go over to what the customer portal is going to look like. So let's go back over here. All right, and I already went ahead and sent me an estimate. So I'm going to go ahead and click on View Estimate. And this is essentially what the customer portal looks like. As we go on there, there is the Book Online button. So if you do have online booking set up, a customer can always go into their portal to be able to book any services or appointments online. Speaking of those appointments, over here, that is where your customer can look at any upcoming appointments. Doesn't look like I have any upcoming ones, but if we look in the past, they can certainly see any of those past appointments. Notice up here, it's letting the customer know they have outstanding payments, so they can go over to the Pay Now button to make those payments. There is also, we have the notification next to invoices, which is probably where those outstanding payments are. And as you can see, it's an easy spot for them to go ahead and view and pay those particular invoices. Again, I just don't have any, I don't have a credit card processor over here, so that's why we're not really seeing the option for me to make an online payment. And my bank account isn't connected, but they would be able to go view and pay and have the option to go ahead and mark it paid. Estimates, as I showed, like here's the ones, here's one that was approved. That's pretty much what they're going to be able to see in here. They could always go back to the email since this is a estimate that needs to be approved. Okay, it looks like it was already, we already did approve it. Service plans for this customer. Remember, I went and showed you all the different boxes on the customer profile. So for the customer, they can go into service plans, go ahead and be able to get any of that information, even looking at when the next visit is coming up, view the details of that plan and what payment plan that they signed up for. Then there is the gallery. So if we did have any attachments, they would be able to take a look at any of those attachments that are on that customer profile. And lastly, as we talked about, there's the referral program. So if they want to send an email to another customer, that is where that they can go ahead and provide that link so that next time that they go through the intake process, that customer is going to be having the referred section. It's going to be Mezzi because Mezzi was our referred customer, the customer that referred that new customer. So pretty much with that, that's kind of covering the three bases that we had in our slide deck. So I would love to open the floor to any questions. I don't really see any in the chat. Let me see, do we have any prepared? I don't see that we had any prepared before. So I'm going to give you all a couple of minutes here to formulate some questions if you have any. Chris, you got anything you want to chime in? You're muted.
My bad. Yeah, we do have 4 questions. Apologies, Phil, we didn't send that over to you today. That we did prepare. And I see a question coming through right now too. Maybe we'll handle live first, then we can jump over.
Okay, yeah, I see one from Don. Will the customer portal be integrated with the service plan so we don't have 2 separate credit cards on file for customer? Example, I had a customer who wanted to change their credit card for the service plan, and I sent the invite to their customer portal, and they added a credit card that was not connected to the service plan payment. So, I know that with the card on file, that's going to be mostly for jobs. I haven't really tested this myself, and I haven't really heard too much, but from my understanding, just from my experience with the system, is when they pay with a credit card for a service plan, typically that credit card is saved with that service plan because that when you set it up for credit card payments only, that is where we would store the credit card information. Um, with the customer portal, as I mentioned, when we store if you send them the link and we store it on their profile, that is going to be for jobs. Um, Chris, do you have anything that says otherwise? Because I'm pretty sure that that's it. It's basically
Yeah.
a spot for you could. It's two separate places to keep a card on file. One for service agreement payments, one for jobs.
Yep. That's all that I'm aware of.
So, um,
Lauren will chime in if she knows anything different.
yeah, but I'm pretty sure that that's it. So yeah, so we don't have two separate credit cards on file for a customer. So yeah, I mean you technically would have two if you were in the scenario where they wanted to use one for jobs and one for service agreements, then yes, you would technically have two stored on file. But as I've kind of repeated, one is going to be specifically for service plans, the other is going to be specifically for jobs.
Phil, we also Shayna's confirming on Facebook. Yes, that's right. There's a service plan card on file and an invoice card on file. Yep.
Yeah.
We did get a question from Kathy on Facebook as well. I think this is in regards to the portal. Oh, and as well as a referral. She said, "Hi, can this be automatically sent to all past customers? And how do you track customer referrals?"
Oh, somebody gave me that. So first off, it's not automated. The way we just kind of explained it in the session today is how it works. Um, I had somebody ask me about this. I personally couldn't find there isn't like a report for referrals. So what I've advised people in the past that have tried to make this report is that you can either do it as a customer tag or if you want to do it as a job tag, because those are the best ways to pull your reports. So if it was referred by another customer, I would honestly put that in as a customer tag because then you can pull your report by that particular customer name. Or you can put in like customer referral and then put that customer's name. So you can have two tags to like start setting up specific filters for the report that you're trying to build. So the answer to your question is no, unfortunately, at this time, it's not automated. And the follow up is use tags so you can pull those reports.
Yeah, no worries, Kathy. Sorry, joined late. All good. Y'all, any other questions? We can go through a couple of these pre-prepared questions while we wait. We'll give you guys one more moment here. Uh, oh, I see a follow-up from Kathy as well. So they will never see their referrals. Got it. Okay.
Right.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, good point. The Super Pros rallied and product is going to be creating a field for this. Oh, cool. All right. More to come. Okay, some of these pre-prepared questions. Got a question from Jason Weber. This is probably more of a pro vote, and I would need a little bit more context. When a client clicks the link into the client portal, why is there no security? I know it's a unique, your customer has a unique link, but you're right, there is nothing to,
I
yeah.
know that, well, one thing that I've noticed is that I've only seen it with the service plans. Now we all kind of saw it in real time in terms of estimates, so that is a good point to bring up. But I know that when you can look back at the session when we were talking about service plans, I sent a service plan to somebody and it actually prompted me to log in before I could even really like it showed me the information, but if I wanted to make a payment, I had to log in first. And I think maybe the reason I didn't have to log in this time is because probably my computer knows it, but um, or is aware of my that I'm logging in, so it's got my information stored. But that is a good call out that we can take a further look in. But I'm pretty sure that they have to log in for specific times. I'm just not aware of when it is and when it isn't. I know with service agreement payments they do have to though.
Yeah. And Lauren, thank you. Yeah, it's a Magic Link system. That's what I was referring to there. It's only
Yeah.
active for 7 days. Yep.
Oh, that's a good point to bring up. Yep. Sorry, I forgot to mention that as well. Because I've tried to go back to many old estimates and old invoices to show the customer portal. And yes, after 7 days, it's gonna just pop up a big error message that says this link is no longer active.
Awesome. Let's see here. For Mike, how can I make it obvious to our techs when they are servicing a customer who has a maintenance plan with us? It would be nice to be able to color code them or some way to highlight the fact that they are a maintenance customer. Any suggestions would be helpful.
So yeah, we don't have a color coding system for that. My recommendation, what I always tell everybody is again, customer tag. Just put on membership customer, service plan customer, and then that makes it like kind of bold for people to see it. But as I did show through the mobile app, if you are out in the field, you can certainly find the service plans and which where they are, what and attached to what sites.
Awesome. All right. Question from Dylan. Do you know how customer notifications work? You can turn notifications on in customer profile. You can select notify customer when scheduling appointment. Customer can opt out. When tech in the field hits on my way, it notifies, does it, I'm assuming this is a question, it notifies customer, question mark. Does it still notify customer if they opt out? Let's see, this is a long question here. This issue, the office turns notifications off. Oh, because they don't want to notify customer at 5 a.m. Um, Dylan, yes, if your customer opts out of receiving any text messages from you, they're not going to get that on my way text. So you don't have to worry about that. And if you have the customer's notifications turned off, they're not going to get the on my way text either. So if you don't want that on, you can hit that off. But yes, if it was on and the tech hits it at 5 a.m., they will receive that text message at that time.
Yep, very true.
And then final prepared question from Alex. Does the direct booking link allow existing customer to book without creating a whole new customer profile?
A good question. I haven't tested that. Let's do it together. Um, all right. So we're gonna go into our customer profile here. Looks like you have to, because we did go through here through the link. So they will. I am aware though, if they do plug in all of their information, because now actually I see why there's the reason for doing this. Um, just because this customer may have multiple locations, so we don't know if this is going to be a previous location that they have or if this is a whole new location. However, I am aware is if they type out their information and it does match something that is already within our system, it's not going to create a new customer. So it taught me something today.
Yeah, just gonna have to merge customers. I know it's annoying. It's like online booking, same sort of deal there. Um,
Okay.
questions coming in.
I see. Yeah. I don't know anything about Refer Pro. So
Uh,
I don't have an answer for that question.
I don't believe we work with them. I'm trying to find some more information. Yeah, we had a post about this last year. Refer Pro. So a lot of these companies, if you're getting a call from them, they are likely finding out that you use Housecall Pro in some kind of way. Maybe it's from your website, or somewhere online. They're figuring that out and they're giving you a call, but we do not work directly with Refer Pro as far as I'm aware.
Gotcha. Um, All right, Jennifer, is there a way to add a credit card fee without putting it on a line item? For example, the tip option and deposit option do the math, but for line items, the techs have to do the math if it's a percentage to add it in. All right, Jennifer, I get this question probably 100 times every week. So I always preface it with is always make sure that it is legal within your state, county, city to pass credit card fees to your customers because it is not legal in every state, city, county. That being said, we do have an article within the help center that it goes in depth the different ways. I'll just kind of quickly explain mine, the ones that I typically tell everybody to do. So, number one is if you do not push taxes to your customers and don't put taxes on your invoices at all, that is the easiest way. Is you can go ahead and put in the 3.5% right in there, and that way it does the math for you. You can create that tax rate and just call it credit card fee. Um, that is the simplest way to do it. But if you do push taxes to your customers, that is not your best option. If you do push taxes to your customers, here are your two other ways of doing it. One way is exactly what you're trying to get away from, which is creating it as an individual line item. I know it's manual, but that is how you can do so. The the second way of doing it, if you are pushing taxes, and which would be the third way, and what I think is the most effective way of doing it, is that you can go into your price book and you can increase all of the services, all the prices of your services and materials by that credit card percentage. So if you want to do it by 3.5%, you can literally raise all of the items in your price book by 3.5%. And then that way it's already adjusted there. There's nothing there that the customer is going to see that this is a credit card fee. But if they choose to pay you in cash or pay you with a check, you can then go ahead and give them a discount by using the discount feature. Remove that 3.5% because the discount feature allows you to do a dollar amount or a percentage. So then that way you can remove that 3.5. So that is the more common way that I see people do it. I know people are a little nervous about saying, well, now all my prices have increased. And my rebuttal to that is, well, then you can always tell your customer, hey, if you're going to pay with cash or check, I can cut a percentage off of this. And as a customer, whenever I hear that I'm getting a discount, that is music to my ears. So I think that's a better customer experience. But those are the three ways. And as I said, if you do go into the help center, there is an article if you want to type in passing credit card fees, it's the first one that comes up. We don't tax, so is there a way to change that to a credit card fee? So Jennifer, yeah, as I was saying, is like you can go to the tax rate section in your price book and just create a tax rate calling it credit card fee 3.5%. And then when you're on doing your invoicing, just make sure that you apply that tax rate.
Awesome. I just gave you that link to that article Phil mentioned as well.
Oh, nice.
And then it looks like we got, checking the Facebook feed here. Okay, we got another few things from Ariana. If I search customers by a specific tag, example, gutter cleaning, I'm not given a list of all my customers with that tag. Is that not what the tags are meant for?
Okay. Would kind of depend on how you are looking for that. Um, just gonna want to check on a couple of things here.
Yeah, I can't recall.
I mean, I don't have many customers, but I typed F and F, which is my friends and family, into the main search bar at the top, and it gave me my 3 customers that are under that tag.
Hmm.
So if you're just trying to find a customer that way, you can. Um, let me take a look here. Yeah, and also just to kind of show everybody as well, is when I go to my list of customers, I can hit the filter button right here, and you can filter by those customer tags. So that would probably also be your easiest bet. Um, And also, the last one I would say is if you're pulling reports, I know you can go to the reporting section and we specifically have a report that you can pull specifically by customer tags. So
Yep.
there's a couple of ways.
Yeah, I would recommend doing that. I know our search can be, the customer search can be a little finicky sometimes. Sometimes less is more as well. So I would definitely, if you're searching by tags, use the filtering. Um, Also super frustrating. Yeah, I've seen that feedback about customer tags not being on the job screen anymore. I'm not sure why that was removed for some folks. I'm not sure what the design feature was there. And then with picture attachments, that should be. I haven't gone through that flow in a long time, Phil. I don't know if you know any
But
better. You can add pictures while you're setting up a job, or do you need to save the job first and then upload the attachments?
um
She's saying save first
yeah. Oh, no, that's not true. That's not true.
on the
Oh,
mobile
on the
app.
mobile
Oh,
app.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
On
Yeah.
mobile, yes. Yep. Okay. Yeah, good feedback. We are actively working on improving the mobile app. We're kind of removing friction there. So anything that's not on the mobile app that you can do on the web version, we are slowly but surely adding functionality for. So keep that feedback coming. Yeah, we had a just for context, we had a very large discussion on Monday. Every quarter, I get to meet with the product team and really report to them on everything that you guys are giving us feedback for at these power hours, at in the Facebook community. So it's being presented, and one of the biggest things was the mobile app and some lack of stuff. So we discussed that fully. All right.
Yeah, that took us that got us through the hour too.
Definitely. I'm not seeing any other questions, so I think we're gonna wrap it up here. I'm dropping the link to. It's not the right link. Hold on. I am dropping the link to our help center with all of our past recordings. There we go. Should still work. Okay. Yep. I was doing a search, so it looked funny. So yeah, if you want to go back and watch any recordings, you can. We usually upload these the next day. So if you missed anything today, you want to watch the recording, it'll be up tomorrow. Kathy, if you're still on Facebook, give it 5 minutes and the recording's available right away there. Um, yep, in the Help Center, Ryan. That link I just dropped for you.
Yeah, and it looks like next week we're going over reporting. So for all of you who had reporting questions today, bring them next week. Yeah, there's a lot within reporting, and I've got a lot to go over there. So it'll be a
Yeah,
very info heavy session.
yeah, that'll be a big one. So bring your questions, bring your feedback. We'll hear you there. And then otherwise, we'll see you guys for office hours tomorrow.
Sounds good. Y'all have a great rest of your week.
All right. Thanks, Phil. We'll catch you
All right.
later. All right.
Bye.
Bye.